Hello, Final Fantasy 14 players, future raiders. This is Len here, and I'm here to teach you guys for the quick 16 minutes of your life of how to do Savage raids. Let's go. So, the extremes is the first thing you do before Savages. You do not want to do Savages without knowing what the extreme is, so you can most likely know what you're getting yourself into if you end up doing the Savages for Final Fantasy 14. Of course, the first Savage tier is not that bad as people tell you, but you have to study the fight. It's not no, I could just go in and do the same thing as the extreme. Extreme fights doesn't mean nothing because you can easily clear it with like 5 deaths maybe, but Savages is different. So the first step of getting yourself ready for Savages is picking your favorite class. The class that you're mostly comfortable with. Don't pick a class that you're not comfortable with at all just because it's in need. You want to make sure you pick a class that you most likely will play and not have a problem with. Of course, this is how you pick your class and this is how you do it. If some odd reason, if you don't know how to pick your favorite class that's level 100, there's different types of class that you can pick from. It's just based on your playstyle. Just don't be discouraged that there's nothing there for you. There's always something there. It's just that you have to pick it, see what you like about it, see what you don't like about it. But, you have to pick what the class that you like to play for this raid tier. To test out your level 100 classes, you go to the outskirts and Heritage Found. And then you talk to a researcher that most likely would get you Stone Sky Sea. Of course, if you don't know where to unlock Stone Sky Sea, is somewhere on the map in Solution 9. All you gotta do is look on the map and see any blue quests that you have, and it will most likely be marked as Stone Sky and Sea. So, yeah, this is how you test out your classes, both spells, abilities, weapon skill, whatever you most likely need. Is most likely there for you to practice on. So you don't have to sit there and hotbar stare, because it's important to not hotbar stare when doing your rotation, because you're supposed to know it in the back of your hands. So you can pay attention to mechanics, as some mechanics requires eyeball technology. Of course, classes like Pure Healer, Shield Healer, and the one and only that will keep you guys alive, tanks, have mitigation buttons. So they're basically going to be progging during your whole fight, trying to figure out if they should use mitigation here or not, as they got more mitigation than DPS, which is also true. Fixing and adjusting your HUD layout will most likely prevent you from panicking of trying to find your debuff or the cast bar of the target that you are targeting, which is most likely going to be one target, which is the boss. So yeah, fixing your HUD layout will most likely help you. And going to actions and traits will most likely help you out with your button layout, so you don't have to reach in uncomfortable spots. You go ahead and place whatever spells, abilities, weapon skill in your crossbar or whatever bar you use to make sure that you are ready to do whatever you need to do to make this possible for you. Now that we got the adjusting buttons and adjusting your layout and choosing your class, now that you got your favorite class, now it's time to do this amazing damage in Savage, which is you just picking out your gear, your food, and your pots. Of course, you won't be potting in a prog party, which I will get to soon. But let's go ahead and let's get into the gearing, food, and basically being prepared for your first Savage run. So to get this amazing gear, you could go to the market board if you have money, and you could go ahead and buy your weapon for your class that you're going to be playing during this raid tier. Of course, it costs a decent amount, but it will most likely be worth it. For the weapon and accessories, you technically don't have to go to the market board and buy them. You could go to the extremes and do the extremes and farm it for a little bit and get your free accessories and free weapon. And then sadly, you have to buy the gear for it, which is the armor set. But if you don't have money for the armor set, you could always barge off a friend and or FC mate and hopefully they craft your set. And also you need food in pots, which you also will also need. So let's go ahead and invest into that as well. If you want to be cheap and or smart, you could do your dailies on a level 100 class and or do a level 100 dungeon to get these tones. The current tones that will get you a stronger gear that's better than a 7-10 gear set, which most likely requires you to do your dailies and or dungeon runs. So you're able to get yourself a nice 720 piece. Now getting down to the food and pots option. Since I am Viper, I most likely would take the Mokeka, and I will also take the dexterity pots as well, since I am a Viper. If you are any other class, you just look at your main stats on your gear set. So for mage is intelligence, for tanks is going to be strength, and for healers is going to be mind. Right? Of course, the melees are in fact different as well. Like scouting and striking and maiming, they all different, but most likely the scouting is the only one that uses dexterity pots, so you shouldn't have much trouble differentiating that. Now that you're almost ready for the raid tier, you could go ahead and hit the dummy one last time just to gain a little bit more used to the class that you're playing. Of course, whenever the tank or somebody pop a raid check, you don't want to be sitting like a sitting duck. Go ahead and bust your food on yourself so you could go ahead and start that countdown rolling. So now the tank will most likely start the countdown to 10 to 15 seconds based on what class you have, right? Doesn't really matter. 15 seconds is nice, right? To clear your mind a little bit before pulling. The moment it said want to start, this is where I'm going to say you could go ahead and dash in, start hitting the boss, start doing your opener, making sure that you pot on the first or second GCD. Doesn't really matter, along as you get your pot down and get your free usage out of it. Of course, if you are progging, you're not going to be using your pots, right? And it's way important to get your buttons layouts down, because you won't be able to stare at your hotbar for that long. So please practice on the dummy, and let's get to it for the next step. Now it's time for you to get ready for your first savage. Of course, you're not going to go to the Duty Finder and pop that. No. What you're supposed to do is you're going to go find a video, right? And you're going to search up the fight that you're going to do first. Don't search up these other fights that you are not ready for and or haven't touched yet. These are savages. This is something that you're not supposed to play around with in Party Finder, since people have attitude, right? So the best thing to do, right, is to make sure that you invest into time of studying the mechanic. Getting them right is most likely way important than trying to get at early parts, since some people tend to look up POVs of other people, which is fine. But the thing is, they sometimes do mechanics differently because they're in a static, or like if they somehow kill the boss at this certain time, you're not going to kill the boss at that certain time, because everybody has a different play style. Everybody's different, right? But we all have a room to improve, so make sure you study. Now it's time for you to prog your first savage, which is M1S, as you are most likely a beginner who's watching this. So let's go right ahead and jump right into it. So if you are doing it by yourself, Party Finder. If you're not, when you're doing it with the FC mates, you could just invite them. But static is most likely through Party Finder, so you're going to go through Party Finder anyway. The best way to find the party that you are looking for is by category, by bottom to top, right? As I have it. So M1S is at the bottom, M4S to Ultimates is on the top, right? You just look for that one party that says Fresh Prog, you join it, and, just be ready that you're going to be dying a lot. So it comes down to progging a fight. It doesn't matter. You're basically going to die a lot. That's why I do suggest not using your pots at all, and making sure that you understand that you are going to be doing something different. Of course, everybody else have different skill level, and they tend to work the party a lot, which is some classes are harder than your own. So please be minded that you are playing a class that is super easy for you. Make sure that you also take notes on what you're doing wrong and what you could have done. Because if you don't take notes and you basically do something wrong, you do end up killing the whole party because of it, and you are basically going to get shamed on. But the thing is, nobody in the prog party is going to judge you because it's a prog party, it's a prog for a reason. It's basically just you getting the mechanics down correctly as much as you can, and try to invest into knowledge that you need to invest to, so you can able to clear this fight as fast as possible, so you don't have to be as stuck as how many other players were. But for some odd reason, if that person can't say do a mechanic correctly and they're not up to your speed, it's always okay, because like everybody has different type of learning speed, right? But for some odd reason, they just seem to can't get it down, right? And they keep dying and they just wipe the party. Well, the best option to avoid any type of time confliction or time problem that you may have is always to leave the party without saying a word. It's really good to say something like that. Well, of course, as a person who's going to tell you, for example, in party fighting, do not open your mouth. I know some of y'all are going to be like, why don't open your mouth? Because some people who is like you, who is a teacher, who like to teach people, right? And want to know like if everybody's okay, because if some people aren't really comfortable with a mechanic and you want to help them out, they probably don't want help in the first place because of the fact that they're that stubborn, right? You're gonna meet a lot of stubborn people, or decent amount of stubborn people, who don't apologize when they make a mistake. It's always important to apologize when you make a mistake or an issue will occur, right? But the thing is, if somebody wants to act different, you can. But the thing is, be careful what you say in Party Finder, as argument could easily be broken out just by you trying to be completely funny for no odd reason. It's not good to start arguments, as arguments could potentially spiral out of control, and it can be wrong because people interpret your tone of voice based on what you typed in, because that's the way how everybody mindset works, including minds, which is that reason why you got to be mindful and be careful of what you say, because you don't know how that person may react if your joke is not taken as how you personally see it versus how everybody else or that person that you are directing that message to see it. Because everybody, like I said, has their own tone of voice of how you say it, right? Just try your best not to say too much, but if the party don't understand anything at all, right, and a fight occurs or anything like that, between party members, the best thing to do in a situation without pissing anybody off is just, like I said, just leave the party and always say thank you for playing or GG's or whatever. Now we got through that whole behavioral part of Party Finder and progging. Now you're ready to clear, right? Once you attempt or have cleared the fight, right? Congratulations, the chest should be at the end once you kill the boss, right? The moment that you kill the boss, there's going to be different types of gear dropping. So be mindful that every fight is not the same drop, right? They're all different, all right? Also, make sure you need on stuff that you actually need, okay? So here, this is where you find out that you have a book, right? So these books will most likely guarantee the gear that you're going to get once you have a certain amount of numbers of books, right? So for M1S, for example, that you just beaten, you will most likely get an accessory on the third week as you beaten the fight. So basically you need 3 red books, which is 3 M1S books. You got to beat the fight 3 times. There's also upgrades for you guys to able to get, and you also use it on augments. Of course, you get these books and these augments and stuff like that once a week, so be mindful. Once you have beaten your first savage fight, you could choose to study the next fight or take a break. So if you are doing this as a repeat, most likely it's just you studying the fight, progging it, study again, and then attempt to clear it if you're ready. Other than that, you most likely won't have an issue if you follow that type of rule. to always study whenever you are unsure of a mechanic. Once you have beaten the fight, you only get to roll on the loot once a week. You also get book once a week, right? After that, you can't get any more, and you will cut other players' chests if they are looking for 2 chests. So do not join those type of parties unless you want to get mad at, right? And of course, congratulations if you have beaten the fight or not. But if you haven't, good best of luck, gamers. Best of luck, future raiders. I looking forward for you to see you in Party Fun. So later, and thank you for watching. Good luck.